Ready?
Gotta hit the mallet.
Do we? This meeting of the Anderson Township Board of Zoning Appeals is hereby called to order. This board was established pursuant to Section 519.13 of the Ohio Revised Code by the Anderson Township trustees to provide administrative relief to any person or entity adversely affected by the Anderson Township zoning resolution. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Lawrence?
Here.
Mr. Halpin?
Present.
Mr. Shekels?
Here.
Mr. Cyan?
Here.
Ms. Barlow?
Here.
Thank you for coming to this meeting of the Anderson Township Board of Zoning Appeals. Please be aware that this meeting is audio and videotaped and may be carried live on television. First, I'll outline our procedures. A summary of the appeal is presented by the staff. Then the appellant will present its case. The board members may then ask questions of the appellant. After that, all persons supporting the appeal will be permitted to testify one at a time after being recognized by the chairman. When those persons supporting the appeal are finished, those opposed to the appeal will then be permitted to testify and/or ask questions of the board after being recognized by the chairman. All persons wishing to testify, whether for or against an appeal, may only do so after being sworn in. When testifying, each person must come forward to the podium after being recognized, speak to the microphone, and state their name, address, and any affiliation to the case. All persons testifying will be limited to 4 minutes unless a board member requests additional time. All testimony is given to the board only. No comments or questions are to be directed to the appellant or anyone else in the audience. The board will only hear new, non-repetitive evidence or questions. Should someone wish to show support of previous testimony, they may do so by following the testimony procedures and stating their support of the previous testimony. Now, will all persons who may give testimony this evening please stand, raise their right hand, and swear or affirm? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Are there any changes to tonight's agenda?
Yes. The applicant for case 11-2025, which is 161 Sunny Acres, requested a continuance to next month's meeting.
That was the only
That's the only-
change from staff. You can see it on the back of your agenda. Just strike it out.
Okay,
No other changes besides that.
okay.
Motion to approve the agenda as published.
Second.
Motion approved.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Cyan?
Aye.
Ms. Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence?
Aye. Please read the staff summary for case number
Minutes.
minutes.
You're good.
Hold on, did I miss something?
Motion to approve the minutes.
A second.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Cyan?
Aye.
Ms. Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence?
Aye. Now we're ready. Please read the staff summary for case number 7-2025 BZA.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a continuation of the case from last month regarding SJO Kids, otherwise known as New Path, located at 274 Sutton Road. And it is the original request was a conditional use request for the 2195 square foot addition and parking lot modifications. And then they are also adding on to that request with a variance for a fence, which we'll get into more detail with. Let's see. Yeah, so they are proposing a 10-foot anti-climb fence to enclose the exits of the property to enhance the security of the facility. So just as a kind of brief overview, let's see. So the 2,195 square foot addition will be to the rear building. It'll include 3 additional sleeping rooms as part of a larger renovation, converting classroom classroom space to 16, a total of 16 beds, increasing the total beds of the facility from 33 to 49, and it'll contain some other additional spaces for therapy and recreation for the residents, and it'll have a net loss of 2 parking spaces. There's been concern, which was raised at the previous meeting, about the impact to fire, EMS, and sheriff services within the township. There have been a number of incidents just in the past in this year, which led to concerns from township administration about that impact. And since that meeting where the board asked for more clarity on steps that NewPath would be taking to address those concerns, NewPath has been working with the township to and communicating on those, and I believe Mr. Sievers can speak to that if the board wishes. Here's the property map again, aerial map, topography map, photos of the area where the addition will be going. Photos from Sutton Road showing how the property is screened and well off of Sutton Road, and then some more photos of where the addition will be going. And then this is also one of the fences that will be increased in height to 10 feet, and then there's another fence around part of the property that is also being requested. So here's some of the photos around the property where that proposed 10-foot fence will be going. Here's the applicant's submission showing the addition, the interior renovations, and then here's the site plan showing the proposed location of the fence. So there's the increase of the existing fence enclosing that quasi courtyard area, and then the fence going around the part of the exterior of the property. So there have been no changes to these specific criteria. So they're still in compliance with A, E, F, G, H, I, OI, and PII, S, and Y. For spirit and intent, the proposed use and development will comply by meeting the conditional use standards. Again, the township administration did raise concern about adverse effect to the public's health, safety, and general welfare due to the impact on township services. However, NewPath is currently taking steps to increase security measures and cut down on those calls for safety services, as shown by their additional submissions from April 25th with the 10-foot high fence, as well as changes to their locking system. Likewise, there were concerns raised to the protection of an impact to public services, which are, there are plans being proposed by NewPath to address those concerns and increase security measures. So it is consistent with the adopted plans and specifically the township's comprehensive plan and zoning resolution, finding that the community will maintain high quality of life that includes quality schools, entertainment, and cultural activities, healthcare, and religious offerings, diverse parks, open space, and recreation systems. Regarding the variance for the 10-foot high fence, staff is of the opinion that the variance is substantial. The 10-foot high fence is a substantial increase from the 6-foot that would be permitted as of right, but the fence is intended for security purposes in helping NewPath keep its residents safe, which would likely reduce strain on township services. Staff is of the opinion that the essential character of the neighborhood would not be altered due to the distance from the property lines and the heavy vegetation screening. which means that the fence really is not visible from anywhere, any of the neighboring properties. No impact to governmental services. If anything, it may reduce the strain on governmental services due to providing enhanced security. The property owner's predicament cannot be feasibly obviated. A 6-foot high fence is not sufficient in deterring residents from leaving the campus, and the existing 8-foot high fence in that courtyard area has also not been sufficient in deterring residents from leaving the campus. The 10-foot high fence request is based on other campuses of a similar nature that New Path staff has visited. And then staff is of the opinion that spirit and intent behind zoning requirement may be observed. The fence is intended as a security measure to keep the New Path residents from putting themselves in harmful situations. This request is unique to the use of the property as what the facility is. And the property has significant screening resulting in no visual impact to the neighboring properties. And township staff does, in addition to the standard conditions, which are number 2 and 3 on this list, township staff does recommend that New Path should be required to have approval from the township fire department and the county sheriff's office prior to a zoning certificate being issued. And here are the standards. Happy to answer any questions.
This also includes the documents submitted last month as part of this.
Yes.
Correct.
Correct, yes.
Any more questions? No? Would the appellant or the appellant's representative please come to the podium, speak into the microphone, state your name, address, any affiliation, and present your appeal?
You didn't swear at the beginning, did
That's
you?
right. I was at the
Okay,
corner of
so if you could swear.
5 Mile and Beachmont in traffic.
He did not,
with the
he
sheriff.
was not here for the original, did you swear?
Okay.
Okay.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
My name is Steve Kennett. I'm a principal with SHP, and I've been working with the representatives from New Path who are also here this evening to answer any questions that you might have about operations. The staff did a great job on kind of setting the table. Since we were here last month, we've had a couple of meetings with Mr. Sievers, and there was a site tour as well with staff. I believe fire department was represented at that tour. In addition to clarifying the fence remarks, which, yes, we have an 8-foot high fence currently, which a couple of kids have been able to scale. So we are altering the fence design to make sure that it is non-climbable. Specifically, it's a very tight mesh weave, not a standard chain link or standard picket. And so the 10-foot height is what they have seen as standards elsewhere across the state.
Okay.
In addition to that, we are working with Hamilton County, and you didn't go into detail on the measures of some security improvements that we plan on doing to one of the buildings, which is an I occupancy. And we are, as we interpret the code, we are permitted to do controlled egress on that, which is where the majority of the residents currently are. And then the fence diagrams, between the fence diagrams and the hardware modifications, we believe we have a solid solution that takes care of the issues so that we can move forward with submitting for a building permit for the 2,200 square foot addition.
Any questions?
Yeah, this, you've had discussions, that was, and you and the township are in general agreement on the whole plan. Want to express appreciation as a board to you and the staff for the township for working together since last month to resolve this issue.
I think they were very productive conversations, and like I said, they actually had a site tour as well, so everybody could actually walk the site together and be on the same page with regards to where the fence locations would be. Again, they're very close to the building, they're not visible. Combination of improving upon the fence that we have and adding new areas.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Nope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to step up and support?
Good evening. Steve Severs, Assistant Township Administrator for Anderson Township, and I'd like to concur with Mr. Knadt's comments. We're not quite there yet, but I think we're close enough to where we appreciate the board's consideration in allowing this to proceed with the suggested conditions by staff. Would allow us a chance to continue to work through the Hamilton County Building Department and State Fire Marshal's office, as well as Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, to address this matter. So
Again, thanks for your
Thank you.
consideration and working through this
we
process.
appreciate New Path's response and understanding of that as well, and I think we're all on the same page. It's just a matter of how to
Okay.
do that with code. So.
Okay.
We will now take testimony from anyone who chooses to oppose the appeal. Hearing none. If there is no objection from the board, I will close the hearing on case 7-2025.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Ms. Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence?
Aye. This board will take this case under consideration and deliberate. Well, that's not right. Either tonight or.
If you'd like to discuss, the public hearing is closed, so
Yeah.
good for
The
discussion.
public hearing is closed. You can't hear us. We can't hear you. Okay? So that's where we are right now. Okay? We could conceivably go back into a back room, but we don't typically do that. Okay? So I'm in full support of this. I appreciate both sides for coming together, working together over the last month to make this happen, and I will completely support it.
I'm good for it.
I agree.
I'm in favor as well.
Mr. Chairman? In the case of 7-2025, I move that we grant a conditional use request citing a staff report, citing documents previously submitted, and the drawing submitted with this evening from Kleininger's group. What's 2 pages? Also want to attach the conditions that is attached to the staff report, final plan submitted. Shall get approval from the Anderson Township Fire Department, Hamilton County Sheriff's Office prior to issue of zoning certificate. Construction of the improvements shall start within 1 year, complete within 2. Approval is based on substantial completion with the plan submitted.
Second the motion.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Ms. Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence?
Aye. Do they get certificate on Monday?
We'll be in conversations.
Okay. Please read the staff summary for case number 8-2025.
All right, so case 8, 2025 is a conditional use request submitted by Matthew Motz of Peepus Properties LLC, who is also the property owner. It is located at 596 Sutton Road. This is a request for an approval to operate a short-term rental as a conditional use under Article 5.4, Section I-15 of the Anderson Township Zoning Resolution. So as stated previously, he is proposing the operation of a short-term rental in an existing house. He has stated that there is no exterior alterations and short-term rentals are a conditional use in residential districts. The property itself was constructed in 1940. Peepus Properties LLC acquired the property in 2018, and there's no zoning history on file for the property. So just looking at the map right now, it is 2 different parcels that we are considering in this. So it is approximately 1.3 acres with a 167-foot frontage along Sutton. It's relatively flat with a slight upward slope towards the rear. North of our property is A district. South to east is bordered by township-owned green space, and to the west is the city of Cincinnati, which is zoned SF20, used for single-family housing as well. So this is what it looks like, as you can see from the west, or to the east and to the south is mostly green space. It's mostly wooded. We do have some houses adjacent to this property, and this is just a topography. And then here's some pictures of the property itself. It's pretty secluded, surrounded by woods. There is a secondary structure, which is this detached garage. And then here's the application letter. Also the tenant agreement. And then just the auditor of this site. So looking at the findings, there are two criteria we're going to be looking at. It's Article 2.12D8, as well as designated specific criteria for short-term rental, which is Article 5.4I15. So looking at 2.12, staff is of the opinion that the use complies with the spirit and intent of the zoning resolution. Staff has found no adverse effect with the proposed short-term rental. The applicant has stated the installment of a motion-triggered doorbell camera, and the applicant currently states that he lives 2 minutes away and will personally regularly monitor the property. There is no impact on the public service, and then it is in accordance to the township comprehensive plan. Specifically the following goal for the housing chapter. Looking at 5.4I15, looking at H, it is compliant. The property allows for a maximum of 4 vehicles, 2 outside and 2 staged in the garage area. Looking at L, it is compliant. The applicant has established strict house rules, no parties, no smoking or drugs, 3-night minimum stay to deter weekend events, and quiet hours. The site, as seen in the pictures, also has a few neighbors with direct visibility due to its location, and these are mainly adjacent towards the city of Cincinnati area. There is a discrepancy between the submitted documents and the auditor's site. The application lists the property as nearly 2 acres, where the county auditor shows less than 1.4 acres combined between the 2 parcels, which was acknowledged by staff. Looking at M, so this is compliant. There's no exterior modifications. However, there was a concern raised by staff about the detached garage. Given the size and the guest capacity that the applicant has stated and an AC unit located on it, staff believes that it could possibly be used as a sleeping location for guests, which is non-compliant and not permitted. The township does not have any record for zoning information regarding the conversion of the garage into a living space. S, compliant, no changing of light proposed. V is compliant. The applicant will provide contact information and Anderson Township information, and X is also compliant. And then here's just the standards to be considered.
Any questions from the board?
No.
Hearing none. Will the appellant or the appellant's representative please come to the podium, speak into the microphone, state your name, address, any affiliation, and present your appeal.
Hi, my name is Matthew Moats, and my wife Dina Moats. 1002 Nimitz Lane is where we live in Anderson Township. We've run the property as a 3-bedroom property for the last 7 years as a long-term rental situation, and have desire to run it as a short-term rental situation. I think there was some confusion about what that second building is. So we have a 2-bedroom home and closest to Sutton Road. And then the off building is a 2-car garage with a loft, single family residence within there too. So there's a kitchen, living room, full bathroom, and loft bedroom. So it has been used that way as a third bedroom residence in the residence for the past 7 years. We just feel that the the property we have, we're part owners in another property in Anderson Township on Clough Pike that we've turned into a short-term rental, and we really feel that we have more of an intimate relationship with that property, able to maintain it better, be in it on a more consistent basis, and just generally for the public, for it to see it a lot nicer, maintained by professional crews, maintenance and yard. So we feel it is an upgrade and brings families together into the township and the city to do the things that the city offers and the township offers throughout the summer.
Any questions?
Yeah, the staff asked for clarity. Is the second building, that's that building in the back, is that part of this short-term rental?
Yes, sir.
And did the staff express concern about that from a zoning standpoint?
Sure. So what that would typically be kind of categorized as an accessory dwelling unit. If there's a secondary living space detached from the primary structure, accessory dwelling units aren't allowed as of right in Anderson Township at the moment. The closest would be an accessory apartment, which again typically need to be attached to the primary structure, and then the secondary one that I'm trying to pull up. I believe, I mean, that's probably the closest you're going to get. And again, so with it being detached from the primary structure, that would make it not permitted as a right according to the Anderson Township zoning resolution.
Okay.
So I think if the proposal was to utilize just the primary structure for the short-term rental, I think that might be more appropriate. But utilizing the second building makes it non-compliant with the zoning resolution.
Are you okay with that?
Would prefer to have.
Oh, I know, but that's what they're telling us, is that the outbuilding can't be used as a part of this. Am I correct?
That would be my understanding of it.
And it might be, you know, that might be something that would have to go to the regular zoning to clarify that.
They could request a variance from that portion of the zoning resolution. I'm not necessarily, this would be uncommon, so I don't necessarily know how that would play out necessarily. I'm sure that if they wanted to proceed with that, again, staff was unaware that the accessory dwelling unit was being used as such. So again, we could continue it to the next meeting if that's something that you really want to do, or this board could move in whatever you feel.
Yeah, we could do one of two things, and we could accept this with the primary unit and the other unit out, and you could at a future meeting request a variance for that.
Okay.
Or would you be acceptable to proceeding that way?
That would be acceptable. Kind of what we've done so far is the front house is ready for furniture and ready to go. We've done all the
Right.
we've done all the work inside. Flooring's in, it's ready to go. So we do still have more time to work on the back house, and then we could put that into next month's meeting to.
That's really a garage, isn't it?
Well,
Back,
there's a 2-car garage there,
oh,
and then someone's been living in that for the last 20 years. I mean,
Not the garage.
not the garage. There's a garage that then you go through a door into a kitchen and a living room and then a loft bedroom.
And
it's been a
there's a
residence
bathroom
for
in
the-
there as well?
I'm sorry?
There's a bathroom in there
Yes,
as well?
a full bathroom, yeah,
Okay.
shower and a full
so
bathroom.
that outbuilding is not a garage.
There's just a garage.
It is a
within it.
garage.
It
The
is. It
top
has
of it
both-
is an
it has both
apartment. There's a
features.
loft
Oh.
up top.
So the
Okay.
2-car garages on the first floor that go into a living room and full kitchen, and then go upstairs to a loft bedroom.
Is that access from inside the garage?
You can access from the garage or from the outside. You can get into the apartment from the garage.
Okay.
Yeah. Then 2 overhead garage doors that house the garage itself.
So I did
Our
have a-
plan is to name this the Fox and Hen, so it would be, 2 separate buildings named that way. Could be rented together or separately.
When did you purchase this building?
2018.
So the whatever additions were done to that garage portions were done well before.
We know of a friend of ours that lived there 20 years ago in the way it is now, so we have no idea when that was transformed to that, but I do know that used to be a barn. I mean, but someone did the work, and that's the way it's been for the last 25 years that we know of, that someone's been able to live in that adjacent property. But as far as for the short-term rental, we would need a variance to make it so there's two separate buildings on the same property that could be used for the same purpose?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But we could go forward with the front house
The
at this point.
primary,
Yeah.
and then hold for the second for a future
Okay.
variance.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
And given the location, you're gonna actually accommodate a lot of people that go to Coney and the what is it, Belterra, was that the?
Riverbend, yeah. You know, with this other property that we already run as an Airbnb on Clough, we're finding people coming for a lot of different reasons around Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And, you know, we figure Riverbend will be one of those,
Flying pig.
yeah. And just, you know, easy to get downtown and
Yeah.
close to all the things
Very
that
easy.
are in our town. And still keeping a rural type feel, in a more rural setting on Sutton Road there.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in support?
Excuse me, I didn't get sworn in earlier. I didn't anticipate talking at this.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Guy Wolf, 6001 Stirrup Road, and I'm in support of this. And in particular, I noticed that there's a clause in here that says exterior lighting shall be directed away from adjacent residential properties, which I think is a real wise thing to do with all the density and the increase in lights. And I guess, so I'm supportive of that. I will leave with a question, though. I wasn't sure that we could require lighting standards, and maybe that's because this is a B2B or, an Airbnb or some kind of short-term rental as opposed to a residence. So I don't know if that's a question for the board or for staff on that.
That would have to go to staff, correct? Yeah, okay.
All right. And I don't know if you want to answer that now or address it later.
I was not a part of the group that implemented the original portion of the zoning resolution, so I can send you an email as far as the response back. Again, Paul would probably know the history a bit better than I would, so I can send you an email at another time.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Would anyone else like to speak in support? We'll now take testimony from those who oppose. Hearing none. Any further questions from the board? We will close the public hearing on case 8/2025.
We need to make a motion on that. I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing on case 8-2025 BZA.
A second?
Mr. Halpin,
Aye.
Mr. Shekels,
Aye.
Mr. Sion,
Aye.
Ms. Barlow,
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence.
Aye.
You good?
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine. I do think we ought to amend the conditions to include that it applies only to the unit closest to the road at this time, and they are welcome to submit a zoning request for a variance for the rear building. And I would approve it with that.
I agree with that.
Yep.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, in the case of 8-2025, I move we grant the conditional use request, citing the staff report, citing also the documents submitted by the owner, and with the condition that the conditional use applies only to the building closest to the road, and if they choose to use the building behind that, it would be an additional zoning request variance.
Second?
Mr. Halpin,
Aye.
Mr. Shekels,
Aye.
Mr. Sion,
Aye.
Ms. Barlow,
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence.
Aye. Ready?
Yep.
Please read staff summary for case number 9-2025.
So, sir, with that, you're tentatively approved. Mr. Motes said you're tentatively approved. You're welcome to stay if you want, but staff will be in touch with next steps.
Just a question, so through the same committee make that variance request for the next meeting?
Yeah, you'd come back through the Board of Zoning Appeals, yep.
Do the same
Yeah.
avenue?
We can be in touch as far as next step go. Yep.
All right, so looking at case 9, this is a variance request submitted on behalf of the property owner, Stephen Koski, by Martin Ober of Coldstream Exteriors. The subject property is located at 673 4 Mile Road. This is a request for a variance for a 1,322 square foot addition with a 28 foot front yard setback. The addition is to include 4 bedrooms and 2 full baths. Currently, the zoning resolution requires a 50-foot front yard setback under Article 3.3 C2A of the Anderson Township zoning resolution. So the history behind this building, it was built in 1956 and currently has 3 bedrooms and 1 full bathroom. The current property owner purchased the property in 2014. Since then, there's been 2 prior zoning approvals, which was a detached garage in 2001 and a pool and chain link fence in 2002. So this is just the site of the property. It is currently 3 acres with a 290-foot frontage along Rock Hill Lane. It has a notable topography, it drops 90 feet from the front to the rear of the property and is currently surrounded by other single-family residences and is screened by mature woods and vegetation, as we can see in the aerial map. And then just looking at some pictures, this is from the private drive. As you can tell, it's mainly has a vegetative state surrounding it. It is at a lower elevation, so it is kind of screened from the roadway or from adjacent properties. And here is the applicant's letter, and then just some of the site plans of the new addition. So looking in the findings set forth in Article 2.12D2B, staff is of the opinion that the variance is substantial, requesting a deviation of 22 feet for the front yard setback, making the requested 28 feet, nearly 50% reduction. However, measuring the house from the edge of the pavement exceeds the 50-foot, aligning with the intent of the zoning resolution. Staff is also of the opinion that the essential character of the neighborhood could be altered. The applicant has not stated the material or the addition will match the existing house. However, the property is located off of a private drive, has natural screening and topography, and is currently 300 feet from adjacent property to the left and 375 feet to the right. It would not adversely affect governmental services. Staff is of the opinion that the property owner's predicament cannot be feasibly obviated through some other method other than a variance, as the site's steep topography and layout limits alternate locations for the addition without a significant cost. Staff is also of the opinion that the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed by granting the variance. Despite this setback deviation from the property line, measuring from the edge of the pavement would satisfy the 50-foot setback requirement, which is the underlying goal of the setback. Following this, if the board approves the variance, staff recommends the following conditions. 1, a site plan drawn to scale shall be submitted prior to the zoning certificate being issued. 2, the completed project shall be compliant with the submitted plans received April 14 of 2025, and construction must be started within 1 year and completed within 3 years.
Any questions from the board? Will the appellant or the appellant's representative please come to the podium, speak to the microphone, state your name, address, and any affiliation, and present your appeal?
Martin Ober, 673 4 Mile. I am the hopefully contractor that's trying to take on the job for the remodel. Basically what we're asking for is the variance to be reduced down the private drive as far as so we can add the addition towards the front of the house because of the slope of the back side of the house. So obviously can't go off the back side. And where the private drive is, it's not actually where the property line sits in the setback. It shows it's only 22 feet from the farthest distance.
It's not correct?
What's that?
The setback, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, on the plans that were submitted, it shows how far we're trying to come over.
What's the correct number?
What do you mean?
Is this the drawing
This-
you're referencing, the one that's up on the screen?
Yes,
now? Okay.
yes. These are the correct numbers, so this is what we're asking for.
Okay, that's from the property line, not from the,
Correct.
not from the road.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, that makes more sense. All right. Any questions from the board?
Okay.
I think that's it.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak in support of the appeal? Hearing none, we'll now take testimony from those persons who wish to object the appeal. Hearing none, we will.
I make a motion that we close the public hearing for case 9-2025 BZA.
Second?
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Ms. Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence?
Aye. Who wants to speak first?
Good.
No issues?
Do you have anything down there? Okay.
It doesn't look like it's gonna be an encroaching
No.
presence.
I have a question for the staff, because this threw me when I went out there, okay? The center line you're referencing is from where? Because this is not actually on 4 Mile, it's on a
Right.
private drive, so
Yeah.
how, I'm curious about the process more than anything, you know? How you got to the setback line.
I believe you would need to reopen the hearing for that. Oh, they don't. Okay. So I can address that, I guess. So the setback number was from this corner to the property line there, and then the measurement to the pavement is to the private drive from the closest point of the addition.
Yeah, I'm just curious about the process, because the address is 4 Mile, and it's not on 4 Mile. So how do you determine where is it, where's your setback from the road determined?
Sure. So our setback requirements are to the property lines. They're not to the right of way.
Okay.
So in this case, again, whether it's on our road or a private drive, it's the property line. Typically, your property line ends at where right of way is,
Right.
and then it's particularly with this case, it's kind of strange, the private drive. It's a little unique in that way. So again, in this case, it's just where the structure ends to where the property line ends.
Regardless of where 4 Mile.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're on a right of way or if you're on a private drive.
All right,
wherever
that's
it is.
where I was trying to figure out how
Yep.
the logic got to that place. Okay.
Yeah, I drove by it 3 times today. I kept missing it.
Yeah, kept missing it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay. Mr. Chairman, in the case of 9-2025, I move we grant the variance, citing the staff report, citing the submittal from Marty Ober, I don't have a date on it, was received April 14th, 2025, and the related drawings for the project, with the conditions that the site plan drawn to scale submitted prior to the zoning certificate being issued, the completed project shall be compliant with the submitted plans, received April 14th, and construction must be started with 1 year and completed within 3 years.
Second the motion.
Hearing a second, call roll.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Ms. Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence?
Aye.
We'll be in touch with the next steps.
Please read staff summary for case number 10-2025.
Thank you, Chair. So this request was submitted by Mike Ellerbrock of Strand Associates on behalf of the Hamilton County Park District Board of Park Commissioners, who are the property owners commonly known as Great Parks of Hamilton County. It is located at 645 Nordyke Road, zoned AA residential. It is a conditional use request for an accessory structure 53 feet by 19 feet related to a governmental facility in a residential district per Article 5.4 I-8. More specifically, they are proposing to upgrade their existing 4 uncovered concrete storage bins located with cast in place concrete storage bins, which will be the same size and in the same location. 3 of those bins will be covered by a new 3-sided metal roof. And then the applicant is also proposing to install a concrete apron in place of the gravel and sand surface currently in front of the storage bins. Per Article 5.4 JI or J1, an application for an accessory structure to a conditional use must satisfy the same standards as the existing use. The county auditor lists the construction date as 1950. The Park District purchased the property in 1976. The maintenance facility was in use prior to the subdivision to the south of the property being developed. A zoning certificate is on file in 1966 for the garage building east of the storage bins. Another is on file from September of that year for an expansion of the shed on the northern side of the property. And then there are also some roof repairs in 2001. Here is the property map, the aerial map, topography map, relatively flat with sloping downhill at the rear of the property. Photos from the area along in the front of where the office building is, facing Nordyke Road and facing the northern property. Photos from that same front parking area, and then the drive going to the back of the property. This photo on the upper left shows the existing storage bins. Some more photos of the property, and then the vegetation around the backside of those storage bins, the parking area. Here's the application, the site plan showing the location of the proposed of the upgraded storage bins. A rendering of what the storage bins will look like if the application is approved. As for findings, regarding criteria E, setbacks from any adjacent residential property line should be a minimum of 50 feet for all buildings and 25 feet for all parking areas. The proposal does not comply with this standard. The applicant is requesting a 22-foot setback from the southern property line. Staff is of the opinion that the request is reasonable due to the reduction from the existing 15-foot setback to the storage bins and the existing 22-foot setback to the adjacent garage building. Furthermore, the inclusion of the roof and paving will likely decrease the potential for nuisances to the adjacent properties, particularly from dust and noise. They're in compliance of parking per item F. For H, they're in compliance. The vehicle use is mainly restricted to the interior of the property, and there are no changes to the areas other than the paving. In compliance with I, the picking up and dropping off of people, products, or vehicles is not a common occurrence, and the existing layout is sufficient. OI, landscaping screening is in compliance due to the existing vegetation, provided that any reduction below the required amount that occurs during construction is replaced. And then there are no changes to any signage on the property. For the general criteria, the applicant is upholding the spirit and intent of the zoning resolution by adhering to the conditional use standards. In the case of the setback, the development will likely minimize disruptions to neighboring properties, which upholds the spirit of the resolution. For adverse effect, the proposed development will not significantly alter the activities already taking place at the site and may even decrease adverse impacts that may exist to neighboring properties currently. No change to any natural, scenic, or historic features at the property, and then it is consistent with the Anderson Comprehensive Plan, specifically the community maintaining high quality of life and protecting natural and environmental resources for the township. And then here are the standards. And that is all. Any questions?
Any questions? Will the appellant or the appellant's representative please come to the podium, speak into the microphone, state your name, address, any affiliation, and present your appeal?
Good evening. My name is Mike Ellerbrock. I work for Strand Associates. We're an engineering consulting firm, and for this project, we're supporting Great Parks with preparing this application to the board tonight. Our address, our business address is 615 Elsinore Place, Suite 320, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45202. With me here tonight are Jason Ray and Rick Conrad, also staff from Great Parks, can also help answer any questions you guys have.
Okay.
We appreciate the board and the staff taking the time to review and evaluate this application. We understand that as a conditional use permit, we need to come to you tonight and ask for your approval on this improvement to the property there. We believe that this project will be an improvement both to the benefit of Great Parks as well as neighbors. This will help Great Parks with their operations at the property. We think that this will be something that will clean up the property a little bit as well, which should be a benefit to the neighbors. Aside from that, I'm just happy to be here tonight, answer any questions y'all might have about the proposed project.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
No. No. Thank you.
We have no
Thank you.
questions? We'll now take testimony from those who wish to appeal.
Anyone
Here.
else who's in favor?
Anyone else in favor? No? Okay. Anyone to appeal? Hearing none.
Or- Your motion.
Motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Mr. Halpin.
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Ms. Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence?
Aye.
Significant improvement for the neighbors as well. The only thing I would add, and I support this, it says that you would replace what's removed during construction, but I'd also like to add it would be maintained. And by maintained, if you lose a 20-foot tree, our expectation is not that you replant a 20-foot tree, but you plant a similar tree and let it mature into that space. It's- I can't hear you, you can't hear me. Mr. Chairman? Any other discussion?
Nope.
In case 10-2025, we move we grant the conditional use request citing the staff report. Conditions shall be start with 1 year, completed within 2. With reference to paragraph O, that the words "and maintain" be added to that line.
Second the motion.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Ms. Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence?
Aye.
we'll be in touch with the next steps.
Motion to close?
So at this point, we're just doing journalization and of the decisions that were made tonight. So if you want to watch us type out on a Word document, you're welcome to stay. Or if you have any questions or anything, we can do so now as well.
Now comes the part where we need Jeff to point out that should be, just scroll up, scroll down.
That's not touch
That's,
screen.
it's a long standing.
I was like, is
Him
it
and I
touch
have a
screen?
long standing, whether you're going down or up.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We can we can do that. So while we're doing decision journalization, she does need to ask questions for the board for a project that she's working on. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of that. She's going to state her name and address for the record, and then she'll have some questions for y'all. If
This
you
is
would
not
swear her in.
evidentiary, so she doesn't have to be sworn or anything, correct?
We can swear her in and make it real official.
No, it's just the
Raise your-
Robert's rules.
Make it
of order.
official.
I just want to make,
We can. I mean, that's probably easier, better than not. So.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Oh, I do. I'm Gabby Phillips. I live on 1830 Wolfangle Road. My question is, what is being done about current zoning issues regarding future planning?
regarding what?
Future planning.
That would be best directed.
I figured some of these will probably be directed towards us. So
Yeah,
while I'm
yeah,
typing
that would
away,
be
I think Eli will be.
best directed to the zoning department, okay?
Okay,
Not us.
all right.
Our function is someone comes in and they have a variance from the zoning, be it the setback line, the height of a fence, constructability issues, and we evaluate that evidence, and then we determine if it's reasonable to grant that variance, and it won't have a negative impact on the township. But the actual rules that we operate on are set by the zoning department.
Yeah, and I'll kind of expand on that. So the township has two statutory zoning committees. So this is the Board of Zoning Appeals, which Mr. Shekels did a great job of summarizing. And then we have our zoning commission, which does more of kind of the, it's legislative, so it reviews amendments to the zoning resolution and recommends changes to the Board of Trustees, who is ultimately the body that implements those changes. And they have more of a kind of long-range planning function. So every few years we update our township comprehensive plan. And so they review that and are involved in the adoption process, but this board doesn't play a role in that.
If
as
if
much.
an applicant doesn't like our decision, their next step is courthouse. Do they have to go to court?
Okay.
Hamilton County Court.
Yeah. So, in a way, we're the end of the process.
Where are you in class like? Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior?
I'm a sophomore.
Okay. Will you be running for township office in the next 5 to 6 years?
I don't know, maybe. You never
Good for
know.
you.
Which
We
school?
appreciate you coming out and asking us.
Which school are you in?
I'll go to McNick.
Okay.
I think she has more questions.
Yeah. How can people like myself help with zoning in the community? Yeah, just help in general. Yeah.
Yeah. So we, as part of that comprehensive planning process that I mentioned, we usually hold open houses and kind of visioning workshops. So that's a great way that people can get involved in a really not time-intensive way. And then we're always looking for volunteers for things for our committees. So we have a implementation committee for our comprehensive plan that works on kind of implementing the vision that township residents and stakeholders come up with in those comprehensive plans. And then all of our boards, such as this one and our zoning commission, are made up of township residents who are volunteering their time to serve. So that's a little bit more involved than that. But, and then, of course, the top of it is running for elected office.
Question for you guys, okay, she's not at the age of majority, but could she volunteer on any committee?
I believe she probably could. I know whether in official capacity or not, at least at tree committee, I know John can kind of speak to this a little bit. We had high schoolers that took part in discussion. Again, it depends on your passion for trees, but we do have a fun little tree committee. So you can partake, I believe, in committees, maybe even in unofficial capacity, but again, we had 2 high school students that sat in for most of the year on tree committee at least.
So now it's on you.
Just so you know, I went to Purcell. And when I was at Purcell, McNick was the only school that had girls.
Oh, yeah.
And he's on the tree committee.
Yeah, and I'm on the tree committee.
So, would you like to be on the tree committee?
No pressure.
But you can find out our dates for our meetings just by going to the Insights.
Yeah, it's the second Monday of every other month, so January, March, May. I was homeschooled, so we're not gonna go past that. But yeah, it's also on our website. There should be in our calendar section, and then our emails are also on our website. So if you have questions, we're happy to answer those for you as well.
Okay.
As part of,
Yeah, we were told there would be a lot of conflict and resolution meetings of zoning.
Sometimes.
Tonight.
It's actually not as conflictual. If I could speak, this job would be so much easier. Okay, there's not as many great conflicts as you would imagine. Okay, it's usually things that are easily resolvable.
Last month there was a little bit more back and forth.
Yeah.
It just depends. I think tonight there could have been, but I think things went rather well tonight.
Yep.
So,
I'm glad.
yes.
Some of the Airbnb cases can be, depending where they're located, they can be a little more contentious compared to this one is
That's,
offset.
When they're in subdivisions, half the neighborhood shows up.
those are probably the most cases where we have most contention is usually neighbors don't wanting an Airbnb in their neighborhood or street.
Or chickens.
Chickens, ducks, and sheep.
Yes, we've had several various animals.
Yeah, and I'll add that both our zoning commission and board of zoning appeals, as well as our trustee meetings, are on the township's YouTube channel, so they're accessible to members of the public to go and watch past meetings. So if you do need to watch something with more conflict, we can point out some meetings that might be.
We can offer a few.
Yeah.
and as a resident, you would have the opportunity at those meetings to be able to speak up and talk to an issue that may be of concern for you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
too. Good luck.
Oh, my son's also an Eagle Scout. St. Mary's. Huh? Yeah,
That's great.
Eagle Scout.
Good for you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank
Yep,
you.
Good
thank
luck.
you.
One of my sons.
Are we still recording?
Always recording.
Always recording until it goes.
Jared, yeah.
Always
Got it.
being watched.
I'm just gonna hand this over.
And as you can see, we try to regulate what we say.
Mm-hmm.
Some looks better than others.
I wish you had been here last month, or I would have volunteered for my, seventh serve as secretary, because.
You're really good. You're good at this. Yeah.
The secretary, all that means is.
You stay.
I stay and sign afterwards.
Oh.
Okay.
And you do a great job.
Yeah.
We
This
get
is
to
my
be-
first chairman, so it didn't go as smooth as I'd hoped.
No, you did good.
We give you a solid C.
Hey, I'll take that, it's passing. That means I might be back next month.
That's right. I think, it's also
fine and
important to
Quaker
note
for the help you out.
Nowhere to go
for
but
all
up.
four of us,
I didn't-
we always
I didn't edit
took
to it,
in,
I'm gonna get a chance.
When we were the new member, we always took everybody out. I'll take meals and drinks.
All right, let's go.
Sweet.
I'm in.
So you're
Okay,
We're on the hook.
so here is the resolution for case 7, 2025 BZA, which was the New Path case.
Oh,
just
okay.
looking for typos, make sure it's
Gotcha.
our intent.
What if you all know somebody who's appealing? Do you have to step out?
No.
Recuse yourself, yeah.
Okay,
Acknowledge and
okay.
John did that once.
Yep.
Normally, we would have a training with our attorney, Gary Powell, who would address those sorts of
Something like that.
questions, but we've had some scheduling
Mhm.
conflicts.
Yep. That happens.
okay, I'm ready. No, this, the adverse effect will not have an adverse impact. And will not yeah. No, I will leave that in, because it's been addressed in the next sentence. New path is currently staged to decrease security risk, cut down calls for safety measures, so I will leave that all in.
Yeah, I would too.
Okay. And it will not impact.
Yeah.
And I would strike that next sentence. Oh, well, however, there's now a plan in place, yes, so that's, you could sleep it in. I'm good. Okay. Variance is not substantial.
I was curious about the fence. If kids are able to scale an 8-foot fence, like what, are there like, mesh and whatnot?
Might have been chain link.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Supposedly, they're gonna go with tighter mesh that you can't
Yeah.
get your hands and fingers
Like
into.
thick-
Currently, that's, I think, smaller, but I think you can,
You can still.
if
Like
you're
what?
athletic enough, then I think you can kind of get in there.
Yeah.
So like
Um,
thick chicken wire or something? The way I'm picturing it, smaller holes?
I think they're fairly small holes.
Yeah.
I know they've toured facilities up north that had this specific, it's called anti-climb mesh or anti-climb fence material or something like that. So there is a diagram in the submission, but it's kind of hard to see, especially when it's scaled down like that.
Right.
But
Okay.
Did you have any revisions for the highlighted section?
Yep, I
It's
think
also
that's
not
good.
Will be observed, not may be observed in the last
Yeah.
paragraph. I gotta play Jeff tonight. He's
Is that
our-
who I'm sitting in for?
He's an attorney, so.
Oh, okay.
He always words this.
He checks everything.
Gotcha.
The only attorney on the side.
Oh, are you okay? I did not know that. It doesn't show at all.
Federal government attorney, so I keep it secret.
I'm good.
Okay. All right. You know what we didn't do there with the 1 year, did we do 1 year start and 2
No.
year completion? Well, we didn't include it, so we can't include it after the fact, can we?
It's already.
For
on
this
there.
one?
It's
It's already
already
in
on
there.
there?
I think we did that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
It was
right.
read from the conditions.
Okay, all right. I'm good.
Or we included the conditions.
Yeah, you said as a part of staff, you just said whatever staff's conditions were, and that was in our 3 conditions. No.
Regards to 7-2025 BZA, motion that we approve and journalize.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Ms. Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence?
Aye.
So where does that go now, that document?
They'll print it out, the chair and then the secretary sign off. Then they file it when they're there.
Here is case 8, the short-term rental on Sutton Road.
What's the function?
Yeah.
They have 2 cars in the driveway, 2 cars in the garage. What do you say that it sleeps? 7, but that's with the loft, right?
Yeah, and
A couch.
So should we change that? Because
we didn't,
how many people can he fit in the
well, that's,
He said 2 bedrooms.
2 bedrooms? So,
And
so you
then,
could put 2 bunks in each one.
and a sofa bed? There's something about a
1, 2,
sofa
3,
bed.
4,
So is it 5 people?
5, 6, yeah. So you
5,
could,
6
you
people.
could conceivably get them in there in that one building. It'd be a little cramped, but.
I mean, theoretically, I mean, we can theorize all we want, or we can just strike it out. It's whatever. I mean, theoretically, yeah, if you put 2 queens, that's 4 people. You
and
put
then
another on the
they will
sofa
not
or
get
2.
re-rentals, and they'll get bad reviews.
Well, yeah, so, that was, his initial submission was with the inclusion of that 3rd bedroom out in the detached garage,
Yeah.
the accessory dwelling unit. So again, if you want to modify that, you could, but it's up to you. It's up to your purview.
My concern is that you rent it out to 2 different parties, and then next thing you know, you got, you know what I mean?
Well, next month's
Trouble.
case, or next month's meeting, you can ask
Bring
all those
that up.
questions, yeah.
Is that something we can control?
I will have a month to get you an answer.
Can we control how many people can sleep in a house?
Yeah, that's like health.
Fire code.
It's
So-
more a health issue, really, and the fire issue, fire department
Yeah.
issue.
I would have to ask Gary the specifics of what those regulatory abilities would be, and I will hopefully have an answer for you next month.
If I suddenly had 9 children, could you force them in the house?
Well, I mean, again, part of the conditions is
Children are.
well, I'll ask Gary and I'll get you an answer. I think that sounds.
Green light, man.
All right. Okay.
So that Wolf guy was here, the April meeting I watched, he was here and talked about lighting at the last meeting.
Yes, this is, it's his,
I'm good.
it's an issue for him, but it's a concern for him.
Me and
Okay.
Professor- This is March 25th.
Right, short-term rental. The building closest to something would be permitted to be used for the short-term rental, period. The rear building is not permitted
At this time.
Yeah.
at this time. Short-term rental at this time. Period. I'm good.
I'm good.
The garage.
Motion,
I'm best.
Regards to 8-2025 BZA, move that we approve and journalize.
Second.
Mr. Halpin.
Aye.
Mr. Shekels.
Aye.
Mr. Sion.
Aye.
Ms. Barlow.
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence.
Aye.
I guess I should hit that on.
Hmm?
Mr. Lawrence, you seconded, right?
What's that?
You seconded, right?
I did.
Just making sure. I know you want to be included.
Always. Like to be heard.
Well, perfect, you're the
This
chair.
one was tough to find.
Then start
I
talking.
did drive by it like 3 times. I'm like, where is GPS taking me?
Yeah.
Like, I could not find this property.
4 Mile one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the 4 Mile / Rock Hill.
The bear is
You'll want
not
to
substantial.
find that. We'll find out. Might as well put it on.
And we need to cite as a reason for that,
Based on location.
based on location
Topography.
and topography.
Are you saying for number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
But,
did,
and the reason why I would say the variance is not substantial.
Yep.
And the reasoning is because of the topography of the lot and its relationship to the private drive.
okay. Just obviously added not to before. Other than that, looks good.
So it is not substantial.
You need to finish that sentence.
Yeah.
The first sentence.
Is this-
The
it
says-
topography
yeah.
of the lot and the location, and that's what I want to say, is that's the only feasible place to put it, in a nice kind of way. You see what I'm
Did
going
you say
for?
makes that the only feasible
So the
location?
variance is not substantial based on the topography of the lot
Yes.
and the location, the
Yes. Thank you for my brain, correcting my brain. Is not substantial.
topography of the lot and the
Would not
location of
be
the private
altered.
drive makes the location of the addition only feasible location. How about the only feasible option? We got a lot of locations in there.
Well, we don't, you know, the material is all, in the drawings, so.
This is one where you requested more specific plans, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's part of the condition.
That'll be a condition.
Because it's pretty,
Would not affect the program, cannot be feasible, right? Following conditions. Consistent with the plans, yeah.
Can I ask a question?
That addresses
So
that.
that number 1, I've seen that a couple times where it has to be like construction begins in 1 year and completed within 3. Is that pretty standard? That
Pretty
means just like,
standard,
let's
yeah.
move it along.
One
Yeah.
or two we've
Okay.
done.
Depending on the size of the structure, but this allows some flexibility for the builder.
site plan drawn to
Yeah.
scale
So
shall be
they're not
submitted prior
coming
to
back
certificate
and
being
saying,
issued.
I need another extension, I need another extension,
Okay.
I need.
Thank you.
We've had some come back after years.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can get it reapproved.
All right, looks good to me.
All right.
Regards to case 9-2025 BZA, I move that we approve and journalize.
Second?
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Sion?
Aye.
Ms. Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence?
Aye. Motion to adjourn?
One more.
Oh, we got one more.
Oh, we got one more?
Last one.
The Woodland Mound.
Oh, that's right.
Facility.
We still got 5. If you have to leave, we got 4.
If it's not substantial, yeah. Will not be honored, would not adversely.
And I would just end it there. I would strike the second.
Oh, what did you do?
Tab.
Will not be altered.
Too many tabs. Look at you. It would take me 20 minutes to figure that out.
And,
4 should be cannot.
This is not, this case.
which one is this for? Is this
Park.
This is
Yes,
for
the parks.
Nordike, yeah.
That was for a previous meeting. Just
How did we get this last number 4? And how did that come into play?
you can ignore most of that language. It was taken from a previous resolution.
Okay.
Is the delivery of governmental
let's
services,
just
is that like
scratch that then.
garbage, sewer?
You copy and paste these.
Okay.
It would appear that way, yes.
The old clone.
Yeah. It looked good when I looked at it last.
By some other
Less good now.
I get it.
Cannot be, correct?
But, hold on, those 4.
Cannot be feasibly obviated, yeah.
I don't even know if those 4 are the correct ones. That should be, should be compliant with adopted plans.
Yep, I'm good.
Consistent with adopted plan, protection of public services and other respect.
Okay, so you said this is.
Yeah, that's the wrong one.
Oh, okay.
So, you recall,
Alright, we,
let's go.
let's have one moment.
The proposed use and building complies with the spirit and intent of the zoning resolution.
Okay.
They're making alterations.
There were some copy and paste errors from staff. Not gonna name names, but he may have been homeschooled, so.
Good. I'm not good with that.
You're not following?
I'm following.
I'm not.
I'm completely lost now.
It's more copy paste.
It'll all make sense in just a moment.
Sure.
We appreciate your patience and cooperation as we go through this technical difficulty.
So the case that did not show up today, or they need a continuation, they're coming next month?
Yes.
Yeah, they've requested a continuance to next month, so they're working through a couple.
Did they say particularly why, or do you have any indication?
There are some challenges with their plan, and they're working to resolve them prior to coming to the public hearing, so.
Yeah, that's a real challenging plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very expensive square foot cost.
I drove by that property too, and I was like, oh.
They're hoping to have a a nicer plan for everyone to look at next month.
Okay. One where I don't have to put my climbing boots on to get to the backyard.
I can neither confirm nor deny what the next plan will look like. But
Did you do that?
You go to the back of the place, it really slopes off.
No, I just like ran through the cul-de-sac, we can't go. Oh,
So we have
Permission.
a revised
okay.
language for the resolution with the correct criteria for your review ready up on the screen.
All right. Okay. All right. Yes.
Is this for case 10?
correct.
Okay. I'm good with it. The only, add the condition about, replaced
Yes.
Maintaining.
and maintained on a one-for-one basis, something to that effect.
Is the current spelled wrong? Should it be A and C? Is that why it's underlined?
There was go scroll up, because they mentioned that somewhere else about, that's why it was just, I was really, okay. During construction is replaced, any vegetation, disturbed, I guess was disturbed as a simple word for that. During the course, it's not just during construction, we've already addressed that up there. What we were doing is the vegetation barrier is to be maintained in its current state. In other words, if they, besides construction, if a whole, because that's all up against a residential area, if for whatever reason, they lose 20 feet of vegetation against that back, they need to replace that, is what we're doing.
Removed or disturbed during,
Yeah.
or as a result of construction,
Not just construction, though.
as a result.
My intent was, and we've done this before, is, particularly in cases like this, that if that 20-foot tree next year falls down, they have to plant another tree in its place.
Okay, I think that's what you're saying. So if any existing,
Not just during construction.
yeah, no,
in
just at all,
general,
period.
but
Yeah.
The existing vegetation barrier is to be maintained.
Well, yeah, whether it dies by natural causes or unnatural causes,
right.
to make sure that the screening stays screening.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Barrier is maintained in its current state. And it's, no, we don't want to say that, because that gets you back to, you gotta plant a 10-foot tree for a 10-foot tree. I don't, here's where we need Jeff or our other attorney.
I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to do.
So he's,
The whole vegetation strip behind there.
Right.
Okay? And on the other side of the
It's like a tree
vegetation
line.
strip is all the residents there.
Right.
So if over the course of time, that vegetation strip goes away for whatever reason, it has to be replanted.
What's the article for that OI?
And we've done that at other, particularly down there in the Anchor
5.4.
area, around some of those properties.
So it's OI,
It's one of those cases.
and what's the,
We haven't heard of that.
One.
That,
go up?
Amazon.
Or is it
trucks
one?
and the fence,
Wait.
fences.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
Right.
it should be one.
Required that. They
That's what it
said
says right there.
Yeah.
They sued over it.
Ooh, go up,
Hey, Paul,
farther.
that left side, is that, ca- because what if that vegetation is on the other property, not their
We have no
property?
control of the other property.
I know, that's what I'm
It's
saying,
on our
though.
on
I know, but I'm saying there's a possibility all of that vegetation is the other properties and not.
That doesn't, it doesn't,
I-
it's not germane because it's not on our property. We're talking about the vegetation that's on our property.
I'm saying, yes,
5.4H.
I agree with that. I'm just wondering if the property line ends before that vegetative strip. is what I'm saying that vegetative strip might be the other properties. Stephen, do you know?
We can just say it's on the vegetation on, you know, the natural vegetation on the property
Yep.
must be maintained in a similar
Yeah.
That's just all that, right?
We're talking about an existing vegetation barrier, so if
Yeah.
it's, if it is
Existing
there.
vegetarian barrier on the property must be maintained in a similar state.
They're just saying complying with that
Yeah.
5.4 H1 OI. I think that's,
I think that meets the intent of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good.
it mentions here, like boundary buffer 10 feet, 3.3 canopy
Approved.
trees, 10 shrubs, so that covers.
Yeah, it's already been addressed up there.
You don't need to do your, like, I understand your
Yeah.
10-foot tree for 10-foot tree.
Yeah. I just don't want the property owner next door to be coming back to us next year and saying,
We're here to make you happy, Mr. Shekels, so.
that's what I do.
Good?
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Regards to 10-2025 BZA, move that we approve a journal entries.
Second?
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Cyan?
Aye.
Ms. Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Shekels?
Aye.
Mr. Cyan?
Aye.
Ms. Barlow?
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence?
Aye.
Should have given A.
There we go.
What do you all
There
do
you
with
go.
these things?
Hand it to them.
That's the fun part.
Oh, for real?
Keys.